Take a look at these bad boys. Well, this week it's time to give them a good trim. Watch me tackle and also struggle with this new task. I also make a huge fire with all of the cuttings and talk about a severe olive tree disease. Let's go! So, as you can see, my olive trees haven't been pruned in probably a few years. And here in Portugal, they prune it usually after the harvest. So it's about 1.5 months now after the harvest. So I'm a bit late technically. But you could do it basically till early spring. But yeah, I want to do it now because I want to use the dead branches to do a fire as well, and then use the ash within the garden. So my goal is to go from one tree to the other. I don't know how long I will take for just one tree. I also have to figure out also which branches I want to keep, which I have to chop down. You can see here there are a lot of those really dried up branches as well, which is sometimes due to lack of nutrients, but also due to a type of cancer I have going on my trees. Most trees here in Portugal are affected by it, and also around the world, I think. So pruning it is a way to prevent it from going worse, and also to prevent it from coming at all, obviously. But yes, and I have some ideas on how to treat them as well. I'm really getting stuck in those branches. How to treat this type of infection. So hopefully then in a few years to get rid of it. So I will show you that later, the ideas that I have behind it, and doing a very organic approach to it, and maybe the less harmful approach to it regarding the soil around it. So yeah, my goal is to take all those lower branches off, obviously, just to give the tree some air, some space. All those suckers basically are just taking all the nutrients from the actual tree, so it's important to get rid of those. And then in between, you probably seen it in some videos, but it's about to create some type of vase form, a martini glass they call it, to make sure that the sun can really reach all of the branches, because some of them now are really too crowded. So I will have to decide which branches to take off in the middle here. And gee Louis, and so yeah, a bit of a learning curve probably here. But I will not prune all of the trees. Some of them look quite alright actually, so I will tackle those who are the wildest at the moment, and then hopefully, even if I prune those and maybe they will not give me a big harvest this year or the coming up year, I have still the other ones to fall back on to give me some nice olives. Yeah, let's go. So this looks already super clean. I'm really happy. Already such a big difference. And now I just have to go one floor further up. To be honest, I'm feeling quite overwhelmed by this job. I'm a bit unsure which branches I should take off because they would be quite some impactful cuts that I would make in order to kind of tackle that illness as well as promoting the right type of growth. It's a bit, this olive tree is kind of a bit all over the place, so I'm really a bit unsure what to do. And also about the tools that I have. I have that saw, which is good for smaller branches, but for the bigger ones I would either need to use my chainsaw, which I'm a bit scared to use all the way up in the trees, or some other type of tool, which I will look online if I can find something specifically for pruning. Which is maybe not as heavy as a chainsaw, but still electrical and not as hard work as the handsaw, because being up there and then using the handsaw, I kind of lose my stability and it's kind of scary. So at this point I just decided to take all the easy branches off and obviously the runs around it, and I will have to think about what to do next and research a bit. Also maybe get some help from an expert on how to do this, because this is the first job I'm really overwhelmed with. I don't know, maybe it's just my mood today also, but I feel like this is quite difficult. As you can see, I already have a big pile of branches, so it adds up quite quickly. And I will do this tree in the back there just now because it's an easy one and a low one. And it was pruned, I think, pretty recently, so it's not too tricky. So I will stick to that one and finish that one. I took the lower branches off the other ones as well. But then I will, I think, call it a day on this task and think about my next step. So, yeah, okay. I keep those bigger branches because they are good for firewood, especially in my tiny house maybe next year. It's a good time to start collecting. That big branch just now was an example of, if I do it high up in a tree, it is quite tricky to, put all your force, all your power into it, because it just starts to, get very wiggly up there. Being on the ground now, it's doable, but for the higher trees, that's why I'm a bit worried to do it with a handsaw. Just for my own safety, I think it's best maybe to invest in an electrical tool. But yeah, this one is a good one. I will finish with this one, and then at least I have a positive ending. I'm really excited about this big pile of ash now. And mind you, that's only 2 trees that I've pruned. So it's quite a big pile already, and I have quite a few trees still left to do. So I'm pretty excited to use that in my gardens. Hello, Jack. Achtung. Good. If you I just had to be careful so he doesn't walk on the ash. But I think he's smart. He has instincts. Because my soil is pretty acidic, maybe you remember that from some of my videos, and ash raises the pH again and also adds some nice nutrients. So I'm pretty excited to have more of that with more fires coming up. And yeah, nice and warm as well in the winter time, so vorsichtig, ja? Bist du vorsichtig? Musst aufpassen, heiß. Ja, es ist heiß. Yeah. So the reason why I opted to do a fire instead of wood chipping the cuttings is because of my olive tree disease. This disease would spread even more. This disease would spread. What are you doing? Achtung, heiß, heiß. Achtung, Jack. Either he has like paws out of steel or he doesn't mind the heat here. So the disease would stay within the wood chips. And with the fire, of course, I kill off all the bacteria and the infection, basically. So that's why that's the best way to do it. Of course, having big fires is not the optimal way for the environment. But again, in terms of using what I have on the land, I opted for this choice. And yeah, I'm excited to use it on the land. So a nice warm fire and yeah, a nice way to end the day, the working day at least, because this morning I was quite unsatisfied with the cutting of the olive tree, so I quite enjoyed doing this part of the day. So yeah, I see you tomorrow. I will probably do some more olive trees. I will show you the disease that I have and explain a bit more about it. And yeah. We finish off for today, right, Dad? We see you tomorrow. Bye! So now that I have this amazing amount of ash, I will use it for some of my trees. Olive trees love it because it has a lot of potassium. So that's a bonus, but every tree really, especially the fruit trees, like it as well. So I think I'm just going to give a small shovel for the small trees, the ones that I just planted, and maybe 2 shovels for the olive trees. And of course, this is not the last fire that I will make because I have so much more olive trees still to go to prune, basically. And good news! Well, good news, I decided to buy a small electric chainsaw which has an extended stick, so I can basically stand on the ground and go high up in the branches with the chainsaw without climbing in the tree, feeling a bit unsafe. I think it was a wise choice and I'm excited for the new tool and to try it out. But yeah, now I'll just go ahead and, spread the ash around. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for the delivery of that mini chainsaw, I will prune around the trees on the bottom and everything that I can reach, by hand and with my clippers, basically. And then I'm excited to try out the new tool. I think if I remembered well, that was a peach tree that I planted just recently. It's doing well. 2 big scoops for my olive trees. grass is getting so high here. Well, the grass and the weeds and the flowers and everything that's growing here. I have a lot of nettle growing here as well, which is fantastic because once they're a bit bigger, I might do a nettle soup again. The only plants that I will not give any of the ash because they love acidic soil is this medroneira, which is the strawberry tree that I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, and the blueberry, of course, because it likes acidic soil as well. So yeah, those are kind of some exceptions to the rule. So I wanted to talk a bit about the olive tree disease that I have on my trees, and which is very typical for Portugal, Spain, and then I think other regions as well. This is a tree that has been affected really badly by it, but I wanted to show you it as an example, just to demonstrate what it does to the tree and what it looks like. So it's called in olive tuberculosis, I think, and also sometimes it's called olive tree cancer or something like that I could find online. I'm not entirely sure about the scientific name for it, or if there is even one at this stage. It's not a super new disease, but it hasn't been around also for that long, so I think the research is still going on that. What it does, like aesthetically obviously, is form all those tumors, they call them tumors, around the tree trunk, the branches, everything basically. You can even see them on the very small ones. So, and this might just look ugly, but the problem is, as you can see on this tree as well, there are a lot of dried up branches. So that's one effect of the disease. Either it takes away the nutrients or doesn't let the nutrients go into all of the branches and everything. So that results basically in very dead and branches without leaves, and of course then also without olives. So your harvest will be just, way less than usual. And apparently also the taste is affected by it. I have to say the taste of my olive oil wasn't super convincing. It was still really nice because I think, first of all, it's my own olive oil, but it had a slight aftertaste to it. So I'm wondering if that's the cause to it, or maybe, due to production or other, steps in the process that, it wasn't the best results, or maybe not the results that I hoped for, to be fully transparent. I still enjoy it, don't get me wrong, especially on a salad. You don't taste that slightly weird aftertaste, but tasting it purely by the spoon, you will taste the difference. And I've tasted olive oil from some of my friends, and most of them don't have that, but they also some have the disease. So I'm confused by it a bit. Anyway, going back to the disease. So yeah, that's kind of the results. The problem is also it will spread from tree to tree, especially in a humid climate, which we have in winter. Well, not at the moment because we've been having sunshine all day long basically. But yeah, normally December, January, February are very wet. But yeah, that's kind of the result. There are some ways on how to treat it. Obviously, I want to follow the most natural approach possible, but also one that has proven success. So I've bought a product. Let me get it for you. So I've got it. It's this one, and it's often referred as Bordeaux mixture, Bordeaux treatment, or something like that. And the main, nutrient that helps to prevent, not really, but to kind of manage that disease is the copper. So there's a lot of copper in there that supposedly should help prevent the disease from going worse, and even help to kind of rejuvenate the tree. But I'm not a super huge fan of adding extra, supplements or, ingredients or nutrients which aren't supposed to be in the soil in a natural way. But as you can see, the disease is going pretty crazy. So in order to save my trees from, actually dying after a while, I have to go that route, I guess. I mean, I will obviously also use a lot of good nutrients, compost, to give all the energy basically back to the tree that it needs to fight this illness. But additionally, I will do a bit of that treatment to help it, get a new boost. On the instructions and as well on what I could find online is to do it in the dormant stage, so basically now, so November till February basically. And also what they recommend is to take in the summer heat here in Portugal, when it's really dry and there is no, you know, wetness in the air, or wetness in general, I guess, is to cut off those tumors and to take a bit of that, you know, that mixture and brush it on it. That should additionally help the wound from spreading even more. Well, I'm not sure if that's entirely true, because I've not seen like anybody here around that does it this way, or at least I couldn't find anybody that does it this way. But I'm just gonna try it out. The information that I found online seems helpful enough that I want to give it a go. And again, this is a really bad example, so not all of the trees look like this. Some of actually are pretty fine, maybe just have one in total in the whole tree, but this one as an example is a really good one, because yeah, it's really affected badly. And also keep in mind, the younger trees are more likely to be affected than the older trees, because of course they're stronger and might also take more nutrients from the soil in general, you know, by having, you know, more roots and everything. So yeah, it's more the baby ones that are affected, but yes, I will treat them nicely. And you know, pruning also helps, you know, having a good airflow in it, because it's again mainly wet environments that cause this disease. So that's the story on that olive disease. Now let's go and prune some more olive trees. And while I'm pruning away, I will say my goodbyes for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye! Bye!